Yeah, okay, good evening. This is NEcology. We're going to try and make this as quick and painless as possible because it's about conservatively, 92, 93 degrees. But, that might not seem that hot to you, if you're from out west. But this is about, 90% humidity right now. So in addition to being hot as hell, it's also humid as balls. And as you can see, we are in a Powerline easement, and you might be thinking to yourself, what the hell are you doing in a Powerline easement? And the reason for that is human disturbance often serves as a really unique microhabitat for different types of plant life. And indeed, I came through here yesterday. And I mean, if you can't see just through the video, there's bees and butterflies all over the place. I came through here yesterday to kind of get a feel for it. And indeed, there was plenty of nice stuff going on, both invasive and native. But that's okay. We'll take the good with the bad here and, take everything for what it's worth, because regardless of, as much as I am a champion for, keeping invasive species at bay, when they're here, and especially if they're doing something interesting ecologically, they're worth, maybe taking a look at. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to start, where we go? We're going to start right here with this cool looking guy, this Centauria, I guess however you pronounce it, depends on what English speaking region you're in. Oh yeah, see the bees are already going for it. They're going right for this guy, and this is obviously a member of the family Asteraceae, sunflower family. Take a look at those filaries there. Centauria stroebe, or strobe, again depending on where you're from. And this is an invasive species right here. This guy's from Eurasia. Plenty of invasive species in Centauria. Kind of looks like a thistle. They call these knapweeds. Black spotted knapweed. If you can't tell, he's got some black glands there. And we'll get into this real quick, because we're going to look at that yellow guy over there, which is another invasive. That's Tanacetum vulgare over there, and we'll get into that. But with this flower, with this Asteraceae flower, you'll know, of course, that Asteraceae is not, you're never dealing with one flower here. I'm just trying not to bother the bees too much. You're never dealing with one flower here. What you're looking at instead of is a cluster of multiple flowers seated in an involucre there, subtended by modified bracts, which are called filaries. And the entire, flowering structure is what is known as a capitulum, capitula plural. And then within these, flowering clusters, you have two different types of flowers off the time. Oh, come on, guy! I'm shooting a video here. Come on, pick a different. Look how many of them there are. Pick a different flower. Within these capitulum, there are often two different types of flowers. All right, you get disc flowers, which are usually in the center of think of a traditional daisy or a sunflower. You get disc flowers, which are the showy one. Oh, he's cute. Look at him. He's brushing pollen all over himself. They're doing well, but it's a shame. Hopefully they're pollinating the native stuff just as well as they're pollinating all this invasive shit. Okay, here's a good example right here. Here's a looks like maybe an origeron, or it's probably not a Symbiotrichum. I don't know. I don't know what this one is. I didn't pay too much attention because there were only a couple of these hanging around. I'll figure it out though, since I've already pointed it out. I'll figure it out and point there. I believe this is an origeron, one of the fleabanes, but I'm not too sure. So, looking at this guy, yeah, these are both Asteraceae. These are both in the same family, but they look pretty different, and yet the morphology is similar. And I feel like I'm kind of going on and beating you over the head with this one. Really, I'm just trying to convey that it's even more complex than a cluster of flowers seated in an involucre, forming a capitulum, appearing as one flower. You have different types of flowers within that capitulum. So in the center there, those are the disc florets, you know. And then on the outside, those little rays that look like petals, they call those ray florets, ray flowers, or yeah, florets, the term you can use for an individual flower in here. And if you really get in there, you can see some of those sexy flower parts sticking out of those disc florets there. It's kind of cool. So remember, so you get disc florets in the center, ray florets on the outside, and you'll note that the Centauria here doesn't have those ray florets, right? Those are all disc florets, and they look quite a bit different than they do on that guy down there, but they're just merely elongated, all right? So you got, you know, Helianthus, the sunflower genus, you know, Origeron, Symphyotrichum. You get all these different genera, you know, that are pretty commonly will have all three. A lot of them have all three, or I'm sorry, all two, disc and ray florets. And then you also get plenty that have just, oh, he's sticky. Nice, I like it when it's sticky. You get plenty that have just the disc florets. And now you also get, if you've ever seen a dandelion or a marigold, what's going on there is that has no disc florets at all. That just has ray florets, you know. Ligulate florets, as they're sometimes called. And I believe that entire tribe, the chicory tribe, is a pretty, not that marigolds are in the chicory tribe, marigolds are in their own tribe, but chicory, dandelions are in the chicory tribe. Tanacetum officinale and chicory, whose name I can't recall right now. They only have those ligulate florets, which is what gives them a little bit different of an appearance. But once you pick up on the general pattern of Asteraceae, and again, we're going to go look at Tanacetum vulgare over there. Once you pick up, and there's another one right there. That's a Solidago. You know, once you pick up on what this general morphology looks like with asters, I mean, they definitely have a look to them. You start seeing them everywhere because indeed they are, in fact, everywhere. So again, this is Centauria stroebe. Starting the video off with an invasive guy. I mean, this thing gets really bad out west. I mean, as you can see, think about it for a second. New England is not dry, and I mean, it gets hot, but it's not hot. It's temperate. We get hot, we get cold, and we get everything in between. But we get a lot of moisture. There's plenty of water here. In fact, you'll see we'll walk down kind of in these little rills here. It's all wet. You get plenty of moisture. And I mean, if this is your intro to Asteraceae, there's better intros to it. This is mostly just for me to get it down to rote memory. You actually have a fifth member of Asteraceae here, too, which I'm surprised is still... God, it's probably stepped through a ton of poison ivy, but you want to know what that... I'm wearing long pants, all right, to keep the ticks off me. Oh, you got Comptonia peregrina here, member of the oak order. Monotypic member of the oak order. Smells amazing. This thing's exuding sweet, almost cinnamony smelling resin. That's one of my favorites. Look into this plant, Comptonia peregrina. I've talked about it in the past. It's really neat. It's really cool. But yeah, there's Achillea millefolium, the yarrow, and this is also, you know, a member of Asteraceae. It looks kind of like a member of the carrot, and those big white petal-looking things are, again, you know, the ligulate flowers, the ray flowers. And then down there in the center, if we get really in there, boom, there's all the disc flowers. Some of them with the sexy bits exerted. So how about that? All just clusters of flowers. That looks like a cluster of flowers, like something you would see in Apiaceae, which we're also going to look at. We're going to go look at maybe one or two members of the Apiaceae. So this segment has run long enough. We're going to go look at Tanacetum officinale, and I'll show you another weirdo that's got the, you know, just the disc florets, like this Centauria has. Oh, I should also, yeah, there we go. I should also state, yeah, look at the filaries. You always got to look at the filaries with any aster. Look at the filaries. You know, this one, the purple ones, you know, some of the thistles are a little bit more distinct, but you get into some of the yellow ones, you go out west where there's just, you know, hundreds, if not 1,000 different species of Asteraceae, or down in South America, geez, where they freaking evolved. You'll be beating yourself over the head with a rock trying to figure these out, unless you're looking at those filaries. Otherwise, it just looks like either a yellow or white daisy or a plume of you know, freaking little yellow tufts. But okay, Yeah, and I guess, you know, this obviously is like I said, New England's not hot, New England's not dry, but this plant goes absolutely, uh, gets ridiculously out of hand out west, where it doesn't have nearly as much competition. Here, we're right on the edge of a forest. This does not grow in the forest. This needs the full sun. It can opportunistically take advantage of sites like this that are not necessarily dry. There's standing water here. It just rained 2 nights ago. It's going to rain tomorrow night too. But the sun, right, and the heat they get baking here, you know, gives them an opportunity to spring up and outcompete other plants to take advantage of similar habitats. Much like that solidago, which is probably, I mean, which is native. I'm guessing that's Solidago gentiana, the early goldenrod. But I can't confirm that from over here. I don't know what other species of solidago would be blooming right now. I'm just rambling at this point. If you haven't, skipped ahead to some other stuff, you know, whatever. Other thing with this plant is allegedly this is one of those ones that produces, you know, secondary chemicals in the ground to dissuade other plants from growing. All right, we're gonna go look at that Tanacetum. All right, here's Tanacetum vulgare. This is another, you know, invasive species coming from Europe. And again, doing that, get the Fibonacci sequenced, you know, flowers in there. Each one of those little yellow things is an individual floret or flower, all clustered in that capitula. Like I said, flip it over. Check out the filaries, kind of reduced. And nothing but disc flowers. No rays on this. It almost looks like the center of a daisy and someone plucked off all of the rays. Tanacetum vulgare. Kind of an interesting one. Kind of weird looking. Almost reminds me of some of the stuff that Senecios do, but I don't even believe this is in the same tribe as Senecio. Asteracea's got a lot of plants grouped into subfamilies, tribes, sub-tribes, you know, whatever the heck, you know, whatever the heck you want. And I mean, I'm standing in a patch of poison ivy right now, but again, long pants, turn them inside out, rub them down with some rubbing alcohol. You'll be fine. Taking a shower when I get home anyway. Oh geez, I'm way zoomed out here. Jesus Christ, what am I? Coming up with some solidago, and I don't really feel like going over there. If you really want to see solidago gentiana, I can show it to you in the parking lot as I drive away, because that's in bloom in the parking lot too. I already feel stupid enough walking through here, so we're gonna turn around. We're gonna go look at some other stuff where the poison ivy wasn't growing as thick. Somehow I missed this when I came through last time. You got a species of Spiraea here in the rose family. I've seen this growing up on top of maybe not this species. I think it's the same species though. Spiraea alba maybe. I seen this guy growing up on top of you know, Mount Lafayette last year. Kind of looks like hell right now. I wonder if it's almost done, or you know, it was this time last year, or maybe like a week or two later, I saw it blooming on Mount Lafayette, which would indicate to me that fucking fly on me, get off me, that potentially it's near the end of its growing season down here. Spiraea alba, rose family, kind of a nice one, although this one looks like it's kind of roasted for the year. Now, that's interesting. I think you just get another species of Spiraea here. Looks like one. You got those clusters of little rose flowers, same form factor as that one. There's one back there, the one we just saw over there. Out of the poison ivy now. Just praying that this oil stay on the outside of my pants. And yeah, we're gonna go this way. We're gonna see what we can find. Okay, we got an interesting here one. We got a Eutrochium in the family Asteraceae, one of the Joe-Pye weeds as they're called. And I believe this is Eutrochium dubium, the coastal plain Joe-Pye weed. And this is another one lacking those ray florets. Just get the disc florets in there. Oh, that bird's chattering at me. Some of them are open. Some of them are spent. It smells pretty good, actually. Eutrochium dubium, coastal plain Joe-Pye weed. And, you know, kind of weird. One of the few genera of asters that has whorled leaves like that. You can see it's a whorl of 4 leaves at the node there. Flowers coming off of that node. Flowers coming up off of this node. 3 nodes of flowers. And that's it's an interesting way of doing it, I guess, you know. looking at this growing up, I wouldn't really know what to make of it. But yeah, Eutrochium dubium, kind of an interesting one. You know, some people, this is a, you know, geez, this spotted Joe-Pye weed, different species of Eutrochium, is I guess included in a lot of wild seed mixes, and that's good. This is, you know, native to the east coast of America, basically just as a strip along the Atlantic Ocean from Nova Scotia down to Georgia, and then I guess it goes up a few it goes up a few of the rivers in the area along the Atlantic coast. But you're probably thinking, but where the heck is the ocean? Well, yeah, I'm only a few miles from the ocean right now. I'm in Essex County, Massachusetts. Ocean's about 5 miles away. So that's kind of a nifty one. Only one I've seen, here's one that hasn't flowered, or I guess it has, and it just didn't flower that well. There's one back there, but that's kind of a cool one. Eutrochium. Yeah, here's one of my favorites. This is a species of Verbena right here on the family Verbenaceae. This is Verbena hastata, which is pretty much found all throughout the North American continent. And, I mean, it's considered kind of a weed, I guess, but I don't know why. It's a beautiful flower. Pollinators love it. It's native. It's only really inhabiting areas where other shit just doesn't really like to grow. You know, it can tolerate drought, it can tolerate the hot and dry. I mean, right now, you've got I'm gonna get into this, but I'm gonna give you an overview of this plant. I think these things have the 5 petals coming out of those little, almost verticilliaster looking things. You look down, it's got kind of you know, opposite leaves, new leaves spreading from the nodes, or new heads spreading from the nodes, dentate margins on those leaves. But yeah, you know, I got a lawn in the house that I rent right now that's dying because we've been in a heat wave for like a week or so, and I get all this shit out here in full bloom, including native stuff like this. I don't care if it's a native weed or it's invasive. You know, why don't you put some of this in instead of a lawn, and then when it gets, you know, 95 degrees like it does every year, instead of worrying about, oh, how am I going to afford my water bill to water my lawn, you get plants like this that do just fine, not bothered at all, in full bloom, growing along the meadow path. Doesn't really make any sense to have a lawn if you're just going to have to worry about whether or not it's dying and spend a ton of money to plant it. Come out here, get some seed of this, throw it in the ground, and then next year you have, you know, a nice hedge of some Verbena. How do they say it? I thought I saw another species here yesterday. They called this blue Vervain. They don't actually call it Verbena, they call it blue Vervain. But there was another one I thought I saw yesterday, the white Vervain. But anyway, down where'd it go? I just saw him down here. We got kind of a perverted looking flower, and I'll explain in a second. This is Strophostyles. Oh geez, I'm gonna forget the name of it. I wrote it down, but look at that. It's almost an asymmetrical flower, and this is in Fabaceae, the family Fabaceae, the pea and legume family. Strophostyles. God, why can't I remember what it is? Whatever. Hastata. I just looked at Verbena hastata. That's why I'm thinking of that. Let me get real. Let me dissect that. And this, yeah, it's got asymmetric flower. So it's got the banner, wings, and keel there. The keel is curved up and over. Kind of a light purple pinkish tinge to it. It's a cute little flower, and I guess this was an important food source for Native Americans. And yeah, just an interesting one. Only 3 species in this genera, and all 3 of them are native to the eastern half of the United States, I guess. So that's kind of cool. And then the leaves are tiny, almost look like poison ivy. You know, the tripinnate leaves there. You know, poison ivy does that too. Get the tripinnate thing with the little rachis on the terminal, little rachis there, leading to the terminal flower. You know, all this anatomically speaking, this is all one leaf. All right, this is the petiole, and then these are the 3 leaflets with the rachis in between, you know, anatomically speaking. But is that a dead animal? I don't know. But a weird little pea. And the next time you see me, I'll probably just say the name out loud. But it'll be there, and it's growing. Freaking bugs. Doing just fine along the edge of the walkway here. What a weird pea. As we walk along, yeah, plenty of this verbena. Verbena hastata does just fine. Strophostyles does just fine. Oh, you get Desmodium here. Desmodium, again, I can't remember the name of it. This guy's on his way out for the year. This is another, startled something. This is another member of the pea family. And this guy, you can see the little, jeez, I've been screwed up the whole time. See the little pea fruits there? This guy's on his way out. Why don't you plant some of this too? The hummingbirds love this, bees love this. Right now it kind of looks like hell because it probably started blooming, last month. And it's just finishing up now, or it's getting baked now. But it'll bloom till September in the right spots, depending on what the phylogeny is. There's some more of it here. Oh, big butterflies. Some more of it here. The head of it almost reminds me of a lupine. Coming up with the blue Vervain there. Desmodium, is it not mucornatum, maculatum? Desmodium something. It's a P. Desmodium. Not in the same. I never even explained what was so funny about Strophostyles. Yeah, Strophostyles is in the same subfamily as a plant, as a genera of plants that goes by the name Centauria, named after the clitoris, and they do look somewhat. They do look somewhat yonic in their appearance. And if you don't know what that name is, what that word means, you got to listen to some more Björk. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, this verbena can get huge. But all right, enough of that. I'm just talking in circles here. I'm not even getting my species names correct, except for the verbena. So why don't I keep going, and then when I collect my thoughts, I will check in with you again. Okay, well, the species name for that Strophostyles was hevola, and the species name for that Desmodium is canadense. Desmodium canadense, hinting at its native distribution here in the Northeast. But here's a nice toxic member of the carrot family for you, Apiaceae. This is Cicuta maculata, the water hemlock, probably the most poisonous plant native to the U.S. You also get the poison hemlock, the plant that killed Socrates here, which is invasive, and then giant hogweed, which causes those photosensitive burns. But yeah, this is a real nasty one. You eat some of this, especially the root or the young shoots or the seeds, and you get about an hour to live. Die of convulsions. Get that typical apiaceous umbel there. So these are the individual flowers, in an umbel. So you get a corym of flowers all aggregated as an umbel, and handling this thing, as far as I know, doesn't pose any immediate threat to my health. Although I do feel a little nervous doing it. But yeah, Cicuta maculata, water hemlock. A lot of the foragers get really worked up about that poison hemlock and that hogweed. Here are the leaves. The foliage looks completely different than a wild carrot. It's almost got a tripinnate thing going on, or actually it's more than tripinnate, just a pinnate leaf thing going on there. But yeah, don't put this anywhere near your mouth, and I probably won't even put my hand near my face after touching it. As far as I know, it doesn't cause any sort of contact toxicity. I looked that up. I double checked. But better safe than sorry. And through here, I didn't see this yesterday. Oh, scared something back there. Jesus, you've got an Impatiens. Not sure which one that is. I think there's two species. Balsamanaceae is the family. The spotted touch-me-not, I think it's Impatiens capensis is this particular one. First time I've seen them flowering. Oh, you got the Desmodium back here too. All the good stuff. I can't get through here. It's too thick. But there's that Desmodium canadense looking much nicer back there. Of course, it's got some water down there. And the Impatiens capensis, which is a strong hint that this area, in reality, is really not that dry. That's a wetland plant. Yeah, look at that. Get up in there. They call them touch-me-nots because when they go to seed, you get the seed pods. The seed pods explode, explosively dehiss when you touch them. Cool. cool zygomorphic flower. Bilaterally symmetric flower there. Balsaminaceae is a family, if I didn't already say that. Oh, I'm sweating like a goddamn pig. Speaking of hogweed. God, was there anything else down here I wanted to show you? I think I got pretty much everything I saw. And what I wanted to do was just walk back. You get more of that Cicuta maculata there. I guess out west, this can get upwards of 8 feet tall in the right conditions. I'm not really sure that the soil here is well suited to that. Got some more of that Eutrochium there just coming up. Plenty of Verbena everywhere. You know, it's a cool habitat. There's a lot more Cicuta maculata than I thought. Yeah, here's a bigger one. Oh, here's one getting tall. Yeah, without a doubt, Cicuta maculata, the water hemlock, aka cowbane, responsible for numerous livestock poisonings. Kind of a bastard of a plant, frankly, and a bastard of a family, even though it's in the carrot, parsley, and fennel family. But yeah, why don't we get close to wrapping this up? There's a spot that I didn't go down to that I didn't realize goes right down to the water. I kind of like to see what that looks like. But yeah, we'll check in. We'll see what happens. I just scared the shit out of a deer, and I thought I got it on video of it snorting, but I guess I didn't, because I was pretty scared myself there for a second. I wanted to show you this plant, a plant many of you are probably familiar with. This is Daucus carota, aka Queen Anne's lace, and you can see how it looks a bit like that Cicuta maculata. I mean, not to me, because the flowers don't really look that similar. They're not as divided. The stem itself has a come here, tiny little. It's not gonna zoom in on just the stem. But take my, oh yeah, tiny little hairs. And then the leaves, I mean, to me, look nothing like Cicuta maculata. But, you know, Apiaceae, they're the same to some people. Queen is a common name, Daucus carota. This is the wild carrot. This is the plant that carrot is bred from. Not native, oh, that's a freaking tick on me. Get off me. Not native to America, but not technically considered invasive. Kind of just grows in ditches, opportunistically, I'll say. You also get a whole bunch of these tiny little peas around, which I'm not going to really, you know, if I stop to look at every single one of those I saw, a lot of them are probably just little annuals. Not that they're not important, just that nothing I'm particularly interested in figuring out right now. But those little mints, mint can be like that too. There's just so many little annual ones. They're all cute, you know, they're all nice. A lot of them are useful, you know, I guess if you're into, you know, the whole herbalism thing. A lot of them have uses in those departments, the peas and the mints, but they're kind of, it's just hard for me to bring myself to, you know, get down there and look at them when there's all this other stuff to look at too. But we're going to go look at one more spot and see if there's anything, excuse me, interesting there. And if not, I mean, I'm drenched in sweat. I need to get out of here pretty soon. Cicuta maculata again. You got some Hypericum still going off, it looks like. Probably on its way out for the season. St. John's wort. This might be I think this is just Perforanum, the common St. John's wort. But we've seen this guy before. Non-native. There's a big verbascum right there. A big mullen. At least I think that's mullen from here. It looks like it. Scrophulariaceae. It's a family on that, presumably. Unless that's not what it is and I'm just blind. You know, it's really hot. I'm not really dressed for this. I think I should be going back soon. Get in my air-conditioned car. Hypericaceae is the family on that guy. The, you know, using it for the depression and whatnot. Plenty of that Centauria everywhere. And I did bring water with me, don't worry too much. And to put it bluntly, I did come down here yesterday, but not really seeing anything worthy of grabbing my attention. But I think we'll go down to the bottom here to get some milkweeds done for the year. Looks like a Asclepias syriaca, common milkweed. I should have done a video on that. It came and went before I could really get into it. But yeah, we'll go around this corner. We'll see if there's anything else left over down here. And then I really think it'd be in my best interest to call it a day and try and wipe any residual pest insects or poison ivy urushiol residue off of myself. Oh yeah, that's definitely mullein right there. Scrophulariaceae, I believe is the family on that. And yeah, the hippies love mullein because I think you can smoke it, but I'm not sure. It's a weird looking plant though. Anyway, we're gonna just go right down to here, and then we're gonna call it a day. Got some daisies down here. Got some more of that. Oh, the Tanacetum too. Tanacetum hasn't. Oh, it's already done. I can't tell. Is it already done, or has it not flowered yet down here? What else? Is a wasp nest back there? Yeah, not much worth note yet. There's another mullein. Yeah, why don't we just hurry this up, and I'll get down to the bottom and we'll wrap this up. Okay, so all that ended up happening was this trail eventually fed back into the forest, down along the wetland area, and back into the woods, where basically in the same habitat we started out in. And you know, unfortunately, not much going on down here. Seen some monotropa, which we've already talked about a number of times. You got you know, it's your typical forest plants. And I think on that note, I'm gonna cut it off here. I've risked getting Lyme disease. I've risked getting poison ivy, which hopefully I won't. These pants did their job. But with that, I think it's time to go back home for the evening, you know. It's still probably only cooled down to 88 degrees. Yeah, that's where, you know, this big wetland here. I've been down in there before. That's where we saw that, saw Peltandra down there. Saw that invasive iris down there. You know, run-of-the-mill stuff. But, yeah, he thinks it's time to shut this one down and go home. So I hope to see you again next time. Hopefully I showed you some cool common plants that you can point out if you ever find yourself in an area of human disturbance in an Anthropocene environment. Keyword for today. There was another keyword I wanted to teach you today. I can't remember right now. So we'll cut it off there. Have a good one. Yeah, I don't know what it is with me and owls, man, but it's like the third time this summer they've had the shit scared out of me by a goddamn owl flying overhead. And I wish I knew more about them or what species they are, because they're really cool, but that's a big fucker. He just took off and flew right over my head. He was in the tree right above me right now. Is he still there? God, this camera sucks. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.